Welcome back to this week's episode of the Catnip Podcast. My name is Grace. Today is Friday, September 8th, I believe. This is a podcast about knitting and spinning and books and baking and cats and lots of random things like the weather, but mainly knitting because that is what I love to do the most. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. And if you are a new viewer, welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy what you see. Like always, all the various show notes and links to things that I will be talking about will be linked down below. If you are on my blog or if you're on YouTube, they'll be down below. There is a Ravelry podcast group that you can go and join that I am very bad at posting in, but it is there for you to join if you would like. If you go to Ravelry and click on the groups tab and search for the Catnip Podcast, it should pop up. There is also an online yarn store where you can buy some yarn that I've hand dyed. That is thecatnityarns.bigcartel.com. And of course, I have all my various social medias that I love and use. Not all of them all the time, but I do use them. Specifically Instagram, so if you'd like to go follow me over on there, there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry. But Instagram is the place to be for sure, because I post there all the time. I'm always there. It's a good place to be. So if I was worried about last week's episode being like really low on content and it being a short episode, I'm really worried about it this week. So apologies if this is a really short episode, but we'll see. I did not do very much knitting. I didn't do very much reading this week. I did a little bit, but not too much. I didn't really do very much baking this week. It's just been a crazy busy week, so not much podcasting content has happened. Or content worth podcasting, I should say. That is the more logical way to say that. So we'll just see how this episode goes. Of course, I do have my tea, as always. It is later in the morning because I was pretty sleepy, and so I slept in, and it was really nice. And so here we are, a little bit later, and thankfully I have not heard anything from the people in the apartment complex doing loud things. I say that, and hopefully they will not come now. So let's see how that goes. Say that as they drive by, or someone drives by. Great. So anyway, moving back to podcasting things. If you would like to grab something tasty to drink, such as tea, whether it be hot or cold or whatever, maybe a snack, maybe your breakfast, I don't know, your dinner, your lunch, tea time, and maybe something crafty. If you'd like to do that while you watch your knitting podcast, you can come back and join me for some crafty chat. Like always, we're gonna start with a little bit of weather chat at the beginning of the episode because nobody wants that 15 minutes in or maybe 20 minutes in, depending how long it is, and then they're like, this is not what I signed up for. So we're gonna do a little bit of weather at the beginning and then it'll be crafting, so don't worry. So we finally had a cold front, and it's not been in the 90s, it's been in the 80s, which is so cool. So it has been cooler, which has been very nice. It's been very, almost chilly, I would say, in the morning, so it makes a morning walk super delightful, and it's just so nice because it smells like fall, and it's cold, and it's just such a nice experience, you know, when you go outside and the air is cool, and you take a deep breath, and you can feel your lungs filled with this cold air, and it's just like, it's fall, it's coming. So exciting. I love it. I don't know about you. You may not feel the same way about fall and winter as I do, but this is my personal feeling about fall. I love it. So I'm very excited about this occurrence in the Texas weather and this so-called cold front that came through. No rain. It's been sunny, but that's okay because it's not as hot, so it's a little bit more bearable. It's been very nice. So also for this week, it feels very like thrown together. I will be completely honest, I'm not very prepared for this episode, but I will do my best. Like I said, we have been very busy this week, and we have a very busy weekend ahead of us. We have some friends coming to visit and just stay with us. So I need to like clean and tidy up everything and make sure everything's ready to go. And so that squishes podcasting time down a little bit and time to make content for the podcast. But that's okay. Apologies. If you like longer episodes, you can go back and watch previous episodes because there are some long ones there. You can search through them if you'd like. There's some fun ones out there. So, knitting content. I knit on the exact same things that I knit on last week. But I did make progress on both of those things, so that's great. I was hoping to finish one of them. I'm using a lot of air quotations today. I don't know what's up with that, but anyway. So yeah, I was planning on like at least finishing the, it's the Veronica cardigan. I was hoping to at least finish the whole like span of the Veronica cardigan, and so then I could like pick up the further ribbing on the bottom and then seam it together after blocking it, of course. But that did not happen. My mom, though, since I've been talking about hers as well, I'm gonna update you guys on how she's been doing. She's been doing amazingly. So, she sent me a picture yesterday or the day before that of her Veronica completely finished, and she was wearing it, and it looked really amazing. So that's super exciting, and I can't wait to finish mine, and I'm really happy that hers turned out so well. There's always like, there's never a sense of worry that it's not going to turn out, but it's always just kind of like a deep sense of satisfaction. Yeah, satisfaction whenever you finish something, so, like especially a garment, and it fits perfectly and it fits really well and it looks good and you love it, and it's just like, I made that. That's so good. And even though I didn't make my mom's, obviously, because she made hers, it's just like I feel this for her. It's like, that looks good. You did good. You did a good job, Mom. Good job. So I've been working on mine, and which is good because I've had a lot more books come in that I need to continue reading. I need to continue to read. I am stumbling over my words today. I don't know what is up with that. So I have a lot of books that I need to read, which means that the Veronica cardigan is my go-to reading project, again with the air quotations. So there is that, but also I have a test knit that does have a due date that does need to get done, and I have a Snapchat. 2 Snapchats. So where was I? So yeah, the Veronica cardigan has just been my reading go-to thing, even though I have a test knit that does have a due date, but also my library books have a due date, so there is that. Just learning how to divide up the time correctly. So it's been a lot of fun. I've had a joy and delight. Is that the correct way to say that? I've had a good time, let's just say that. I've had a good time knitting both of these things and reading and doing other things while I'm working on the test knit, because I definitely cannot read when I can read other things in the pattern when I'm doing the test knit. So let's start with the Veronica cardigan first, because I'm sure everybody's very well acquainted with it by now, and I do apologize, my chair is about to squeak. Or not. Who knows? So I did in fact finish the back. Yay! I did make that amount of progress, which is wonderful. So I did start the decreases for the other side, and it's really not that much that I have left to do. It's just that I've, again, been busy and was not able to finish it. So here it is in all of its glory, and I marked where I started doing my decreases with this green little guy here. So I've done that much. That's something. So there's that. I've just been piddling along, enjoying it. This is the Veronica cardigan by Shannon Cook. It's amazing. Her Instagram is amazing. It'll be linked in the show notes. You can go and check out all of her wonderful patterns because all of them are amazing. How many times can I say the word amazing? So yes, it's just been a really, really wonderful thing to knit. It's very soothing, and I love this yarn that I'm using. This is my go-to sweater yarn, Aran sweater yarn, worsted Aran weight sweater yarn, especially for cables, or any kind of texture, really. I don't know about lace. I have not tried it with lace, but that would be an interesting thing to try out. Anyway, so what yarn is this, you might be wondering? This is the Cascade Eco Wool in the shade, color, same thing, Ebony, which the lighting is very accurate today, so this is very accurate as to what it is. It might be a little bit more warm than that, but other than that, it's pretty accurate. You know it's a good day when the lighting is good and your colors are spot on. So yes, this is very wonderful. These are massive, massive skeins of yarn. So you're always lugging around a big cake of yarn with you wherever you go, which I don't really mind. I think it's fun to pull from the center. I have been converted to a center pull ball person, which if you don't know what that means, you pull from the center instead of taking from around the outside. I used to just do whatever, and then I, for whatever reason, started preferring pulling from the center because I like I like the feeling of pulling from the center, and then you can see it getting smaller or less full on the inside, and so then you have a nice little hole that is there that is created when you like knit a lot, and then you're like, oh, look how much I knit so much, and it's just very, very fulfilling. So I like it. It's a very strange reason to like a center pull ball, but that's just my personal preference. I think one of the more practical uses of using a center pull ball is to like prevent it from rolling around, which would make sense because if you pull from the outside and if it's sitting down flat like this, unless you're still pulling up, it'll just fall over and roll all over the place. So here you can just set it down and pull, which is nice. I like that. And then it doesn't move anywhere, so I do like that it doesn't move. So, tangent, but a yarn tangent, so it's okay. This is a knitting podcast, so we can talk about knitting things. Veronica Cardigan, Shannon Cook, Cascade Eco Wool. Who knows? Maybe I'll have it done by next week. I don't know. We'll see how this coming week goes. Next week is also going to be really crazy. We're going out of town, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, it'll be fun going out of town because it's for like a wedding reception party thing, and it will involve a long car trip, which means knitting time. So if I haven't gotten it done by then, I will get to work on it then and maybe finish it in the car. So who knows? But I don't know about by the time of the next podcast. So we'll see. Here it is so far in all its massive glory. So yay. I love it. I cannot wait to wear it because it's getting cooler, and that's just so much fun. I can wear it in the cool weather. So yes, I have been enjoying knitting on that. And now it's time for a tea break because I've been talking very quickly for a very long time, it seems, and I need some tea. So the next thing that I've been knitting on is my test knit, which is super fun, and I love, love, love getting to do this. For the designer is Charlotte Bory, which I still don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name right, but so if I'm pronouncing that wrong, apologies. But she's very sweet. She's designed many a shawl pattern, and I was very lucky enough to be able to test knit her new shawl pattern, which will be coming out at some point. I don't know when exactly. But it is called the Bathwick shawl. It is a brioche shawl pattern, and due to test knit things, I cannot show you all of it, but I will be able to show you a little bit of it, so apologies that it will be kind of scrunchied up, but I do have permission to show you a little bit, but just not all of it. So Yes. So here it is in all of its mysterious glory. Here is one side of the Bathwick shawl. Lovely brioche in all of its squishiness. There's the one side, and let me rearrange for the other side so the secrets are still kept. But I like this other side better because I like both sides, because on one side it's a really fun color, and on the other side you have like a knitting design technique thing that's super fun that you will see in just a minute. So here's the other side, and as you can see, there are these little, like, I would call them flowers-ish. I know they aren't flowers, but and it's not a bauble either. It's just like a little eyelet type thing. But it's also not an eyelet. You've knit something that creates a little, like, petal leaf shape. Maybe they're leaves. I don't know. So this is what it... Oh, look at that end out of the way. So this is the other side. It is looking mighty fine so far. I'm really enjoying knitting it. And what's also really great is that in doing this test knit, we were able to be given yarns for the test. So the yarn is from Cosmic Strings, which is a yarn dyer based out of Edinburgh, which is super fun. And these are my two colors, which is like, oh my goodness, these are my colors. This one is called Mist, or Misty, which is a beautiful, like, rosy, purpley mauve. And then this one is called Marshmallow, which again is like super cool. Lots of beautiful pinky purpley speckles. And it's just like, I love it. So we have Misty and Marshmallow together into a beautiful brioche shawl. And so yeah, I am super, super enjoying it. I've definitely got into the swing of brioche. I'm like on the rest rows or whatever, again with air quotations, on the rest rows where you're not doing anything fancy or you're not doing any increases or whatever, I'm like, I don't need a pattern, I'm good, I know what I'm doing, which is really good. I feel really proud of myself for figuring that out. Yes, I do still have to count rows because that's very imperative in the pattern, but other than that, it's very, very straightforward. If you know how to do just basic brioche, and you know how to do a basic brioche increase and a basic brioche decrease, you're good. And also if you have a scale, because that involves weighing your yarn to get a halfway point, and then you start doing something else. So yes, the scale is also very imperative. Unless you're really good at eyeballing it, which I'm not, so that's up to you. But it's a great pattern, and I'm excited to see my progress as it goes on and it gets bigger and all that kind of stuff. So it's been quite a lot of fun to knit. Because it is brioche though, I am mentally, I'm very like focused on the one thing that I'm doing, so I can't read while I do it at all, for sure. I was trying to think if I could do it during the rest rows, but I don't think I could do that. So it's definitely like a TV show, or watching TV out in the evening or whatever, and or I'm listening to an audiobook or something, audiobook, something like that. You know what I mean. I can give my full attention to my knitting and not worry about not giving my full attention to something else. Does that make sense? Yes. I guess my ears aren't being used, so like I can pay attention with my ears and use my eyes for my knitting and all that kind of stuff. So it works out pretty well. And yeah, like I said, it is a secret test knit, though I do have permission to show you pictures and little bits and pieces of it, but just not the entire thing. So there will be more pictures of it on my Instagram, so don't worry. If you want to be updated on my progress throughout the week, if I do not, since you don't have a daily podcast, you have Instagram. It's like a daily podcast, really. So yeah, That's a test knit for Charlotte Bory. It's called the Bathwick Shawl. It's super great. It's a lot of brioche. It's wonderful. I highly recommend it. I would totally make it again for sure. So it's pretty wonderful, and yes, I'll continue to make progress on it, obviously, because there is a due date and it needs to be done by the due date. So that is it for current knitting this week. Like I said, I didn't get very much knitting done this week, but that's okay, you know, those weeks happen. There have been a lot of patterns released recently though, because of the fact that fall is coming and everyone needs new knitwear and new knitwear designs to get them really pumped up for the fall and for winter and just all that jazz. So I've been very distracted by all the new patterns that have been coming out. Specifically 2 of them, and both of them are by the same person who I really love as a designer, and I have made several of her patterns. You might not be surprised, but her name is Joji Locatelli. Are we surprised? No, we're not. So she came out with 2 patterns. She might have come out with more. I think it's just 2. One of them is a cowl, and one of them is a sweater. The cowl came out earlier this week, maybe on Monday, maybe over the weekend. I don't remember when exactly it came out, but when it came out, oh my goodness, it's one of those patterns that you see a picture of on Instagram again, people style these pictures great. You feel this like intense desire to have this thing, to be able to wear it, to like have the outfit in the picture, to be that person. So this picture that had this item in it was just like, I need that so badly. It is a cowl. It is called the Gradient Band Cowl, and goodness gracious, it is beautiful. It is like a long cowl, so you can wrap it around twice if you want. I don't know if there's instructions on how to make it shorter or not, because I have not gotten the pattern yet. But it's a very long cowl, and then it's all one color, and then there's this one band of gradient scallopy lace. I think it's the scallop pattern. Feathers and Fans, I think that's what it is. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen the pattern yet, but it looks beautiful, and especially with her color choices. I don't remember the yarn dyer that she used specifically, but she said she had it like in her stash and she was inspired by it, and so she used it. And I follow this dyer on Instagram, and I can't believe I forgot her name, but it'll be linked in the show notes because I love her yarn. I haven't knit with it, but her colors are beautiful. So it's just like pretty colors, pretty picture, pretty cowl. I just need to make it right now, because clearly I have a lot of time to knit all the things, and so I just don't have anything on my needles, and so I need to put even more things on the needles, which is not true. I have, goodness gracious, I don't even know how many things I have on the needles right now, but that's okay because that's just the way I knit. That being said, I would feel bad if I did cast on this cowl now, because I do have a lot of things that are so close to being finished. I feel like I feel more bad about casting on something new if I know I'm really close to finishing things. And so it's like, well, if I just worked a little bit harder on this other thing and get it done, and then I would feel really great, and then I could cast on something new. So I'm going to try and finish some things because they are so close to being done. And then I will cast that on, hopefully. Because, like, then with the whole gradient thing, you can make a gradient, you can fade it, you can do random colors, you can have so much fun with it, and, like, oh my goodness, so many fun options. Ugh. Yeah, so many color ideas bouncing around in my head, and I just want to use them all and make this cowl so many times because it's so beautiful. So, it's car driving by. So that is the Gradient Band Cowl by Joji Locatelli. I will link that in the show notes, so don't worry. I have not cast it on, probably won't be casting it on anytime soon, but I do want to knit it at some point. So the other pattern by Joji Locatelli is a sweater, like I mentioned before, and it is called Milkshake. or maybe the milkshake cardigan or milkshake sweater or something like that. I don't know. I know the word milkshake is involved, because I think it's because the one that she knit is white. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know why she named that. But it's a beautiful, very simple, very, very much a staple item in anybody's wardrobe if you love sweaters and cardigans. It's a V-neck. I think the V doesn't come down too far, which I really like, because I think it's always kind of annoying when you have a V-neck sweater or cardigan and like the V just like goes down and like connects around your belly button, which that's what you want. That's super cool. You do you. But like I personally don't really like that, because then it's just like really flappy all everywhere, and it's like if you want it closed, then like close it. So personally, I think the V on Milkshake looks really good. So I think it's knit out of a DK weight. And I think I might have a sweater's quantity of DK weight in my stash back here. So that would be really wonderful if that worked out. I have not double checked this. I don't know this for certain. But once again, once I finish things and get things off the needles, I might have to check that out because I really want this sweater. Well, it looks like such a good staple cardigan, like I said. And it's just so beautiful. She designs such pretty things, and she styles them so well. And you just want to be her in the picture with the sweater or a cowl or whatever. And you're like, oh, I just want to make these things, but I don't have enough time. Oh, what a travesty. So like I said, I didn't do very much reading this week. I didn't do any baking this week. I'm about to go make some chocolate chip cookies, but that's super basic, and everybody has their favorite recipe. I'll link the recipe that I'm going to use in the show notes in case you're interested. It is by no means my absolute favorite. It's just the one that I've made the past couple of times because it's the first chocolate chip cookie recipe I come across on my Pinterest board. It is very good though. It's a good recipe. So it'll be linked if you are interested in that, but if you have a favorite cookie recipe, why don't you share it with the group? Share it with the people. I would be interested to know what your favorite cookie recipe is, because I'm all down for trying new recipes. So I'm gonna go do that. There's no reading worth talking about. The third book of the Court of whatever, the last one, the third one finally came in, and I'm in the middle of another book, and so I am like, part of me doesn't want to start the third one because I know it's gonna end and then I'm gonna have to wait for the fourth one, but also part of me is like, I have to know what happens. What happens? What am I gonna feel? What are these feelings that am I gonna feel? Like, I don't know. So I think it's just because we've been busy and I feel like I haven't had the time to devote to that, the time, the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, everything to devote to these books. So I feel like I've been putting that off, but I still have it. I still have it in my library bookshelf, so it is there for me to read whenever I'm ready, within a time limit, obviously, because it must be returned, because that's how libraries work, obviously. Now we're just rambling about nothing. Apologies. So yes, that is all the knitting that I have. That's all the really content that I have. I am very sorry that this is a very light week. It's just been one of those weeks again. I am sorry, but that's okay. Hopefully next week will not be as bad. We'll see. We will see. So with that being said, I will bring this episode to an end before I start rambling on about goodness knows what, because I've been doing that a lot this episode, and nobody wants that for too long, whatever. I'm also stumbling over my words, and nobody wants that either. So that is a sign to bring the podcast to a close for this week. Hopefully if you are a new viewer, this did not turn you off to this podcast. I recommend trying other episodes that are previously in the backlog of this podcast what am I even saying anymore? So we're trying to regroup and bring this back on track. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for sticking with me despite weeks like these where it's very light and I'm not very well put together and I just ramble. So there's all my various social media. I'm a little bit more put together on there. So you can check those out. There's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry. Super active on Instagram. Also becoming more active on Twitter. So if you're into that, there is that. There is a Ravelry podcast group that you can join. I am not super good in posting in, but there is one for you to join if you would like that. If you go to Ravelry and click on the groups tab and search the Cat Knit Podcast, it should pop up. There's also an online yarn store where you can buy some yarn that I've hand dyed, and that is the catknityarns.bakecartel.com. And of course, like always, all the various things that I have talked about will be linked in the show notes, which will either be down below or be linked down below if you're on YouTube, or if you're on my blog, it'll be down below for you to look and peruse and click on the links to go see the things that I've talked about if you're interested, of course. So yes, again, apologies that this is a short episode, but next week will be better, hopefully. I hope you've had a wonderful week and you continue to have a wonderful weekend. I hope if you have crafty plans that they are successful. I definitely have crafty plans, but we'll see how they go. I don't know with friends coming how that's going to work out, but that's fine. You know, those friends, it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun, and if knitting doesn't happen, that's totally okay. So, with that, I will say goodbye and go make chocolate chip cookies because those are important and everybody needs those. So maybe you should go make some chocolate chip cookies. That would be fun. If you have time, you should go do that. Yes. Anyway, with that being said, I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Look, say hello to the people. Look, it's a birdie. Hello, everybody.